The easiest man to defeat is not the weakest man in the room. It is the man whose emotions can be activated on command. Insult him and he loses control. Ignore him and he starts chasing. Praise him and he forgets to question your intentions. Threaten his ego and he destroys his own position, trying to prove his strength. This is how weak men are controlled without chains. Their enemies do not need greater intelligence, greater money, or greater influence. They only need to discover which emotion makes them react without thinking. The first habit that makes a weak man powerful and a powerful man untouchable is the habit of controlled reaction. You must become slower to respond, harder to provoke, and impossible to read. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct will demand immediate action. It will tell you to defend yourself, raise your voice, expose the person, or prove that you cannot be treated that way. But understand this: the moment another person controls the timing of your reaction, they control you. Machiavellian power begins when you refuse to move according to another person's rhythm. You pause, you observe, you ask what they are trying to achieve. Are they provoking you into revealing anger? Are they testing your insecurity? Are they attempting to make you speak before you understand the situation? Most people expose their entire strategy when they believe they have disturbed you. Let them continue. Let them become comfortable. Let them mistake your silence for weakness while you collect information. A controlled man is not passive. He is calculating. He does not suppress emotion because he is afraid to act. He delays action until emotion can no longer corrupt his judgment. Anger becomes information. Betrayal becomes evidence. Rejection becomes direction. Humiliation becomes fuel. You stop asking, "How do I make them regret this right now?" and begin asking, "What response gives me the greatest long-term advantage?" That question separates boys from men and emotional men from dangerous men. A weak man wants relief. A powerful man wants results. He understands that winning the moment can cost him the entire game. From today, build a private rule. Never make important decisions while emotionally activated. Do not send the message. Do not make the threat. Do not reveal the plan. Step back until your mind becomes cold again. Then decide whether the situation deserves confrontation, distance, silence, or complete removal. Sometimes the most powerful response is not revenge. It is becoming so disciplined, successful, and unreachable that the person who underestimated you can no longer enter your world. Comment: "My emotions obey me," if you are ready to stop being controlled by temporary feelings. People may call you cold when they can no longer manipulate you. They may call you arrogant when you stop explaining yourself. They may accuse you of changing when your old reactions are no longer available to them. Let them speak. You are not becoming heartless. You are becoming governed. When your face remains calm, your words remain measured, and your actions remain unpredictable, people lose the map they once used to control you. Control the reaction, and you control the conversation. Control the conversation, and you control the direction. Control the direction long enough, and eventually you control the outcome. Number 1. Master the power of strategic silence. The man who speaks too much does not appear powerful. He appears available. Every unnecessary word gives people another piece of your mind, another clue about your plans, another weakness they can study, repeat, or use against you. The second habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is strategic silence. Most men talk because silence makes them uncomfortable. They explain their decisions before anyone asks. They reveal their goals before they have built them. They announce who they distrust, what they fear, what they are planning, and what they hope will happen next. Then they wonder why their moves are blocked before they begin. Understand this: information is power, and the man who gives away information freely is handing weapons to people whose intentions he has not yet measured. Machiavellian discipline teaches you to speak with purpose, not pressure. You do not need to fill every pause. You do not need to correct every false assumption. Sometimes allowing people to misunderstand you is more useful than exposing your true position. When they think you are weak, they become careless. When they think you are unaware, they reveal more. When they believe you have no plan, they stop protecting themselves from it. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is concealed movement. Begin watching how people behave when you stop explaining yourself. The insecure will become nervous. The manipulative will push for details. The arrogant will start talking more than they should. Your quiet presence creates a vacuum, and most people rush to fill it with their secrets, insecurities, and intentions. Listen, ask questions. Let them reveal the structure of their mind while yours remains protected. This habit also changes the weight of your words. A man who speaks constantly is ignored, but a man who speaks rarely makes people lean closer. His sentences carry pressure because they are not wasted. Train yourself to remove weak language. Stop saying maybe when you mean no. Stop apologizing for standards that protect your future. Stop making long speeches to people committed to misunderstanding you. State your position once and clearly, then let your actions enforce it. Comment, "My silence protects my power," if you are ready to stop leaking your strength through careless words. But remember, strategic silence is not fear disguised as discipline. You must still speak when your boundary is crossed, when your reputation requires clarity, or when silence would reward disrespect. The difference is that you speak deliberately, no emotional flooding, no desperate proving, no uncontrolled confession. Before you speak, ask 3 questions. Does this need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? If the answer is no, remain still. The weak man talks to release tension. The powerful man tolerates tension until the right words create maximum impact. Guard your words and you guard your intentions. Guard your intentions and you become difficult to predict. The man who cannot be predicted cannot be controlled, trapped, or defeated. Number 2, become a man who keeps his word to himself. Your enemies are not always people. Sometimes your greatest enemy is the version of you that makes promises at night and breaks them in the morning. The version that plans a disciplined life but chooses comfort when discipline becomes painful. The version that speaks about ambition, strength, wealth, and transformation, yet repeatedly negotiates with laziness. This man may look harmless, but he is quietly destroying your confidence from within. Every time you tell yourself you will wake up early and remain in bed, you teach your mind that your commands have no authority. Every time you promise to train, work, save money, control an addiction, or complete a difficult task, and then abandon it, you weaken the relationship between your intention and your action. Eventually, you stop believing yourself. That is one of the most dangerous forms of weakness because a man who does not trust his own word cannot build a powerful life. The third habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is ruthless self-consistency. It is the ability to do what you decided long after the emotion that inspired the decision has disappeared. Motivation can make you begin, but only discipline can make you dangerous. Anyone can feel powerful while watching a speech, writing goals, or imagining a better future. The real test begins when no one is watching. Your body feels tired, the results are invisible, and your mind begins offering intelligent excuses. Weakness rarely speaks honestly. It will not say, "I want to destroy your potential." It will say, "You deserve a break." It will tell you that one missed day does not matter, one careless decision will not hurt, and tomorrow will be easier. But tomorrow is usually built from what you tolerate today. Machiavellian power demands that you understand your own psychology before another person uses it against you. Your mind naturally moves toward comfort, familiarity, and immediate reward. You must design your life so discipline does not depend on your mood. Set fixed times. Remove distractions before they tempt you. Prepare your environment. Make the correct action easier to begin and the weak action harder to access. Do not rely on willpower while surrounding yourself with opportunities to fail. A strategic man does not repeatedly enter battles he could have prevented. If your phone destroys your focus, place it outside the room. If certain people weaken your standards, reduce their access to you. If late nights destroy your mornings, stop pretending midnight entertainment is harmless. Your future is not being stolen in one dramatic moment. It is being traded away through small habits you continue to excuse. Understand something deeper. Consistency is not about performing perfectly every day. It is about refusing to disappear when the day becomes imperfect. Weak men miss one workout and abandon the month. They make one financial mistake and return to reckless spending. They lose focus for 1 hour and waste the entire day. This is emotional thinking. A powerful man corrects himself quickly. He does not turn a mistake into an identity. He does not say, "I failed, so I am a failure." He says, "I broke the pattern, and now I restore it." Your ability to return immediately is more important than your ability to remain flawless. Build a rule that you may fail once, but never twice. 1 missed day is an accident. 2 missed days begin a new habit. Protect the chain. Keep moving even when your performance is smaller than expected. Read 5 pages when you cannot read 30. Train for 20 minutes when you cannot train for an hour. Complete 1 essential task when the entire schedule collapses. This teaches your mind that difficult circumstances can reduce your speed, but they cannot stop your movement. Comment: "My word is my law." If you are ready to become a man who obeys his own decisions, start making smaller promises and keeping every one of them. Do not announce 10 goals. Choose 1 standard and prove it through repetition. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the work before seeking entertainment. Save the amount you committed to saving. Leave the person you promised yourself you would stop returning to. Each completed promise becomes evidence. Evidence becomes self-trust. Self-trust becomes confidence. Real confidence does not come from repeating that you are powerful. It comes from remembering how many difficult commands you gave yourself and followed without applause. When you possess that kind of confidence, people can doubt you without disturbing you. They can laugh at your plans because you no longer need their belief. You have proof of your own reliability. This is what separates loud men from formidable men. Loud men describe what they are going to do. Formidable men quietly build routines that make the outcome inevitable. Their power is not found in one heroic act. It is hidden inside hundreds of ordinary decisions made correctly when nobody cared. They appear unstoppable because they stopped giving themselves permission to quit whenever discomfort arrived. Every morning, they vote for the person they intend to become. Every disciplined action strengthens that identity. Every completed task sharpens their authority over themselves. Soon, the habits that once felt painful become automatic, and the life that once seemed impossible becomes normal. This is how a weak man becomes powerful, not by waiting for courage, but by acting while resistance is present. This is how a powerful man becomes untouchable. He creates such deep internal order that chaos around him cannot change his direction. Your opponents may disrupt your plans. Life may delay your results. Circumstances may force you to adapt. But when your word to yourself is unbreakable, no setback can permanently defeat you. The world fears the man who does not need to feel inspired before he moves. Become that man. Make fewer promises. Keep them all. Let your discipline become so consistent that even your weakest impulses understand they no longer have authority. Number 3, guard your attention like a kingdom. There is a silent war being fought for your life, and most men do not even realize they have already surrendered. Nobody needs to imprison you when they can keep you distracted. Nobody needs to destroy your ambition when they can scatter your attention across meaningless arguments, endless entertainment, temporary pleasure, other people's opinions, and problems that were never yours to solve. Every notification that interrupts your work, every hour lost watching strangers live, every conversation that pulls you away from your mission is not merely stealing time. It is stealing the man you could have become during that time. The 4th habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is ruthless control over attention. Your attention is not a casual resource. It is the foundation of your intelligence, discipline, income, influence, and future. Whatever repeatedly receives your attention eventually receives your life. Weak men give that resource away to anything loud enough to demand it. They wake up and immediately open their minds to messages, news, opinions, and entertainment. Before they have chosen a direction for the day, The world has already chosen one for them. Their minds become crowded with other people's priorities. Then they complain that they cannot focus, cannot think clearly, and cannot make progress. But focus is not something you find. It is something you defend. Machiavellian strategy begins with knowing that the man who controls your attention can influence your emotions, decisions, desires, and behavior. Advertisers understand this. Manipulators understand this. Social platforms understand this. Your enemies understand this. The only person who often fails to understand it is you. Every time someone successfully provokes you into an argument, they have redirected your energy away from your purpose. Every time jealousy makes you study another man's life instead of building your own, your attention has been captured. Every time loneliness sends you chasing people who repeatedly disrespect you, your focus has been converted into weakness. You must learn to ask, who benefits from where my attention is going? That single question will expose how often your mind is being used against you. A powerful man does not respond to every demand. He does not attend every conversation, accept every invitation, watch every trend, or investigate every rumor. He understands that access to his attention must be earned. He chooses what enters his mind because he knows every repeated image, voice, and idea begins shaping his internal world. If you continuously consume weakness, gossip, outrage, lust, fear, and comparison, do not be surprised when your mind becomes undisciplined. You cannot build a calm, strategic brain while feeding it chaos from morning until night. Your mind becomes what it repeatedly studies. Feed it purpose, feed it knowledge, feed it silence, feed it difficult work that forces it to become stronger. Start your day before the world enters it. Do not reach for your phone the moment your eyes open. Those first minutes determine who commands your mind, you or everyone else. Sit in silence. Review your mission. Decide the most important task before distractions begin negotiating with you. A weak man organizes his day around what feels urgent. A strategic man organizes it around what creates power. Urgent messages will always appear. Small problems will always shout. Other people will always find reasons to borrow your time. But the most important work is usually quiet. It does not beg for attention. Your health does not send dramatic notifications. Your future income does not call you repeatedly. Your skills do not become angry when ignored. Your purpose waits silently, and that is why undisciplined men continue neglecting it. They respond to noise and abandon value. You must reverse this pattern. Give your best mental hours to your most important objective. Do not offer the strongest part of your mind to entertainment and then expect the exhausted remains to build your future. Work before pleasure. Create before consuming. Train before relaxing. Complete the difficult task before rewarding yourself. This is delayed gratification, and it is one of the clearest signs that a man has become dangerous. The average person is controlled by immediate reward. He wants the pleasure now, even when the price will be paid later. He spends before saving, speaks before thinking, reacts before calculating, and entertains himself before earning rest. A powerful man reverses the transaction. He accepts discomfort now so that freedom arrives later. He understands that every form of power is purchased through delayed pleasure. A strong body is purchased by rejecting comfort. Wealth is purchased by rejecting careless consumption. Mastery is purchased by rejecting distraction. Respect is purchased by rejecting desperate approval. Peace is purchased by rejecting unnecessary access. The man who cannot say no to small pleasures will eventually be forced to say no to large opportunities. Do not allow temporary desire to negotiate with permanent goals. When your mind says, just 10 more minutes, recognize the trap. 10 minutes repeated daily becomes days, weeks, and years. Great lives are rarely destroyed by one dramatic failure. They are dissolved through thousands of tiny permissions. One more video, one more excuse, one more conversation with the person you promised to leave behind. One more purchase you did not need. One more morning surrendered to comfort. The damage appears small because it is divided into pieces, but the final cost is enormous. Build periods of complete isolation from distraction. Turn the device off. Close the door. Remove every unnecessary tab. Choose one task and remain with it until your mind stops searching for escape. At first, you will feel restless. That restlessness is evidence of how deeply distraction has trained you. Do not obey it. Sit through the discomfort. Your ability to remain focused is a mental muscle, and every time you refuse to escape, it becomes stronger. Soon, you will be able to produce in 2 concentrated hours what scattered men fail to produce in an entire day. That advantage compounds. While they restart their attention every few minutes, you go deeper. While they seek stimulation, you develop skill. While they announce intentions, you create results. This is how ordinary men quietly separate themselves from everyone around them. Comment, "My attention builds my empire," if you are ready to stop spending your mind on things that cannot improve your life. You must also learn to protect your attention from people. Not everyone deserves immediate replies, constant explanations, or unlimited emotional access. Some people contact you only when they need your energy. Some bring problems but reject every solution. Some keep you trapped in repeating conversations because your attention makes them feel significant. Notice how you feel after interacting with them. Clear or confused, focused or drained, stronger or smaller. A strategic man studies patterns instead of making excuses for people. You do not need to hate anyone. You simply reduce access. Distance is not always punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Stop allowing guilt to make you available to those who would never protect your time. You are responsible for your mission, and every unnecessary commitment becomes a hidden tax on that mission. Say no without writing an essay. Decline without inventing a lie. Leave conversations that have no direction. Protect your schedule from people who treat their own time carelessly. When you become selective, some will accuse you of changing. They are correct. You have changed from a man who could be interrupted by anyone into a man whose time has structure. You have changed from someone who consumed whatever appeared in front of him into someone who chooses what deserves mental space. You have changed from being available for every distraction into being committed to one direction. That change will make you less accessible, but far more valuable. Remember this. Your life will not be shaped by what you occasionally desire. It will be shaped by what repeatedly holds your attention. Guard it, direct it, invest it where it multiplies. When your mind stops wandering toward every temptation, your energy begins moving in one direction. And when all of a man's energy moves in one direction for long enough, he becomes almost impossible to stop. Number 4. Master the habit of strategic detachment. The moment you become afraid to lose something, that thing begins controlling you. A relationship can control you when you fear being abandoned. A job can control you when you believe you cannot survive without it. Approval can control you when your identity depends on being admired. Money can control you when your peace disappears every time the numbers change. Even success can become a prison when you become terrified of falling from the position you worked so hard to reach. The 5th habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is strategic detachment, the ability to value people, opportunities, and outcomes without becoming emotionally enslaved by them. Weak men confuse attachment with loyalty. They believe that holding tighter proves strength, but desperation is never strength. Desperation makes you tolerate disrespect, ignore warning signs, accept poor treatment, and betray your own standards just to prevent something from leaving. The more you fear loss, the more power you give away. People can sense when you need them too much. They feel it in your over-explaining, your constant availability, your anxiety when they become distant, and your willingness to negotiate boundaries you once claimed were permanent. Once they discover that your fear of losing them is stronger than your self-respect, the balance of power changes. You begin chasing, they begin deciding. You begin proving, they begin judging. You begin adjusting your behavior to protect the connection, while they continue testing how much you will tolerate. Machiavellian wisdom teaches a colder truth. What you cannot walk away from will eventually own you. This does not mean abandoning everyone at the first difficulty or pretending you have no emotions. It means developing enough internal strength that no person, position, or possession becomes more important than your dignity. You can love deeply without begging. You can commit fully without becoming blind. You can pursue success without allowing one failure to destroy your identity. Strategic detachment is not the absence of care. It is the absence of dependency. It is the ability to say, I value this, but I will not destroy myself to keep it. That sentence is psychological freedom. Begin by observing where your fear is strongest. What are you terrified of losing? Whose attention changes your mood? Whose opinion makes you question your worth? Which opportunity has made you accept conditions you know are beneath you? Wherever fear becomes intense, there is usually an attachment demanding examination. Ask yourself what would truly happen if that person left, that plan failed, or that door closed. Your mind may tell you that everything would collapse, but your mind often exaggerates loss because it is addicted to familiarity. You have survived endings before. You have rebuilt after disappointments you once believed would destroy you. The pain was real, but it was temporary. The lesson remained. The strength remained. The new direction remained. Stop treating endings as proof that your life is over. Sometimes an ending is simply life removing what your fear refused to release. A strategic man prepares himself for loss before loss arrives. He builds skills so one employer cannot control his future. He saves money so one emergency cannot break him. He develops emotional discipline so one person's rejection cannot destroy his identity. He maintains his health, reputation, and network so he is never trapped by a single option. Dependence creates vulnerability. Options create power. This is why you must quietly build alternatives. Do not wait until the relationship becomes toxic to remember who you are. Do not wait until the company removes you to develop valuable skills. Do not wait until your income disappears to learn financial discipline. Prepare while conditions are calm. The man who prepares in peace does not panic during war. Strategic detachment also requires you to stop trying to control what other people think, feel, and choose. You can communicate clearly, you can act with integrity, you can present your value, but you cannot force loyalty, love, honesty, or respect. The more energy you spend trying to control another person's decisions, the less energy remains for controlling your own. Let people reveal themselves. If they want to leave, let them walk. If they choose someone else, let them choose. If they misunderstand you after you have explained yourself once, let them keep the story they prefer. Your life becomes lighter when you stop fighting battles inside minds you do not own. Powerful men understand that chasing rarely restores respect. When someone withdraws, the weak man rushes forward. He sends more messages, offers more attention, and lowers his standards to recover the connection. The powerful man watches. He allows distance to provide information. He asks whether the relationship was built on mutual value or on his constant effort. He does not confuse another person's absence with an emergency. Sometimes, silence is not a problem to solve. It is an answer to accept. Comment, I choose dignity over dependency if you are ready to stop begging life to keep what no longer respects you. Detachment must also be practiced with outcomes. You need goals, but you cannot allow one result to decide your emotional stability. Work with complete intensity, then release your obsession with immediate reward. You can control your preparation, discipline, strategy, effort, and response. You cannot control timing, luck, competition, the economy, or every decision made by others. When you attach your peace only to the final result, every delay feels like defeat. You become frustrated, impulsive, and vulnerable to shortcuts. A detached man remains committed to the process. He adapts without collapsing. He understands that the mission is larger than one attempt. If one path closes, he changes the route without changing the destination. This makes him extremely difficult to defeat because failure cannot capture his identity. He does not say, I failed, therefore I am powerless. He says, that method failed, so I will improve the method. There is no unnecessary drama, only adjustment, only movement, only the next strategic decision. Practice small acts of detachment every day. Leave your phone unanswered when you are working. Allow someone to be disappointed by a boundary that protects you. Refuse the purchase that promises temporary status. Walk away from arguments that cannot improve your position. Stop checking who viewed, replied, followed, praised, or ignored you. The more often you resist the need for external reassurance, the more stable your inner world becomes. Eventually, people will notice that they can no longer pull you closer with praise or push you away with rejection. Their approval does not intoxicate you. Their criticism does not destroy you. Their presence is appreciated, but their absence is survivable. This is what it means to become untouchable. Not that nothing hurts you, but that nothing can permanently control your direction. You feel the pain, study the lesson, and keep moving. You do not build your home inside temporary people. You do not place your identity inside unstable circumstances. You become your own foundation. Remember, everything outside you can change. People can become distant. Markets can collapse. Plans can fail. Reputations can shift. The only security you truly possess is the man you have trained yourself to become. Build him carefully. Build him until rejection cannot reduce him, betrayal cannot confuse him, and loss cannot erase him. When you know you can rebuild, you stop fearing destruction. When you stop fearing destruction, you stop accepting chains disguised as comfort. And when nothing outside you can purchase your obedience through fear, you are no longer merely powerful. You are free. Number 5. Study people before you trust them. The most dangerous mistake a man can make is believing that everyone thinks the way he does. Because you are loyal, you assume loyalty in others. Because you keep your promises, you expect people to keep theirs. Because you would never use someone's weakness against them, you reveal yours without hesitation. Then betrayal arrives, and you call it unexpected. But betrayal is rarely invisible. The signs were present. You simply preferred the comforting story over the uncomfortable evidence. The 6th habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is disciplined observation. The ability to study people carefully before giving them trust, access, information, or influence. Weak men decide who someone is based on words, charm, shared interests, and temporary kindness. Powerful men study patterns. Anyone can perform goodness for a day. Anyone can appear loyal while they need something from you. Anyone can praise you when your position benefits them. Character is not revealed by what people say when conditions are easy. It is revealed by what they repeatedly do when honesty becomes inconvenient, temptation appears, or your usefulness begins to decline. Stop listening only to declarations. Watch behavior. When words and actions disagree, believe the actions. A person may say they respect you while repeatedly ignoring your boundaries. They may call you family while competing with you in silence. They may promise support but disappear whenever supporting you requires sacrifice. They may apologize beautifully, then repeat the exact behavior that caused the damage. The weak man becomes hypnotized by explanations. The strategic man studies repetition. An apology without changed behavior is not accountability. It is an attempt to reset your tolerance. Machiavellian intelligence does not demand paranoia. It demands accuracy. You do not need to suspect everyone, but you must stop granting trust before evidence earns it. Trust should be built in layers. Give people small responsibilities before large ones. Share minor information before exposing serious vulnerabilities. Observe how they handle what you place in their hands. Do they protect your confidence or convert it into conversation? Do they respect your absence or use it as an opportunity to speak against you? Do they celebrate your progress or become distant when you begin surpassing them? Envy is often disguised as humor, concern, or advice. Someone may repeatedly mock your ambition and call it a joke. They may warn you to be realistic whenever you attempt to rise. They may focus on every possible failure while ignoring your potential. They may appear supportive in public but reduce your confidence in private. Do not judge one sentence. Study the pattern. Some people do not want you destroyed. They simply want you small enough to remain familiar. Your growth forces them to confront their stagnation, and instead of improving themselves, they may attempt to reduce you. A strategic man notices changes in energy when he succeeds. He watches who becomes quieter when he shares good news, who introduces doubt into every victory, and who only feels comfortable when he is struggling. You do not confront every hidden enemy. Sometimes confrontation only teaches a deceptive person to hide more effectively. You simply adjust their access. This is one of the coldest and most useful rules you can learn. Not everyone needs to know that you have understood them. Let people believe their mask is still working while you quietly change your position. Reduce what you reveal. Stop depending on them. Remove them from important plans. Create distance without dramatic announcements. The need to expose everyone is emotional. The ability to reposition silently is strategic. People tell you who they are through small moments. Watch how they speak about people who are not present. If they reveal another person's secrets to entertain you, they will eventually use your secrets to entertain someone else. Watch how they treat those who cannot benefit them. Charm directed only toward powerful people is not kindness. It is ambition wearing manners. Watch how they behave when corrected. A mature person may disagree, but they can examine themselves. An insecure person will deflect, attack, blame, or rewrite the event to protect their ego. Watch how they handle your boundaries. Respectful people may not like every limit, but they accept your right to set it. Manipulative people treat your boundary as a personal attack because your lack of limits was useful to them. Watch what happens when you say no. A person's reaction to being denied often reveals more than their behavior while receiving what they wanted. Some will become cold, punish you with silence, create guilt, or remind you of everything they have done for you. This is not generosity. It is an investment they expected to control later. Learn to recognize emotional debt. When someone repeatedly gives without being asked, then uses those gifts to demand obedience, their kindness was not free. It was a contract you were never allowed to read. Comment: I trust patterns, not promises, if you are ready to see people as they are instead of as you need them to be. Observation also requires control over your own need to be liked. Many men notice warning signs, but ignore them because accepting the truth would create loneliness, conflict, or loss. They would rather maintain a false connection than face an honest ending. This is why manipulators often succeed. They do not hide perfectly. They depend on your willingness to deceive yourself. You see the disrespect, but you call it stress. You see the jealousy, but you call it concern. You see the repeated dishonesty, but you focus on their potential. Potential is one of the most expensive illusions in relationships. Stop building your expectations around who someone could become. Judge their role in your life by who they have repeatedly chosen to be. Compassion does not require blindness. You may understand why someone behaves badly without continuing to give them access to you. Their wounds can explain their behavior, but they do not excuse the damage. A powerful man can forgive without restoring the previous position. Forgiveness is internal release. Trust is renewed access. They are not the same. Someone may deserve peace from your anger while still losing the privilege of standing close to you. Never allow guilt to force you into rebuilding a bridge that repeatedly led enemies into your territory. At the same time, do not become so guarded that you destroy every sincere connection. The purpose of observation is not permanent isolation. It is intelligent selection. Loyal people exist, but loyalty must be recognized through consistency, not fantasy. A trustworthy person does not only appear during your victories, they remain steady during confusion, difficulty, and inconvenience. They tell you truths that protect your future, even when flattery would be easier. They do not compete with every achievement. They can watch you rise without secretly needing you to fall. They respect information you gave them privately. They do not force you to constantly question where you stand. Value these people, protect them, return their loyalty. Machiavellian power is not about using everyone. It is about understanding human nature well enough to know who deserves partnership, who requires distance, and who must never be given another opportunity to damage you. Build a habit of listening more than speaking. People reveal themselves when they believe you are not judging them. Ask open questions and resist the urge to interrupt. Notice what they repeatedly praise, criticize, fear, and resent. Their conversations expose their values. Their jokes expose hidden beliefs. Their anger exposes entitlement. Their envy exposes insecurity. Their excuses expose the standards they refuse to accept. Do not collect this knowledge to manipulate innocent people. Use it to protect your decisions. Before entering a partnership, study how the person handled previous partners. Before trusting someone with money, examine how they manage their own. Before believing promises about the future, study their relationship with past commitments. History does not guarantee repetition, but ignored patterns often become tomorrow's pain. Become patient enough to let time reveal what charm attempts to conceal. You do not need to rush closeness. Anything genuine can survive careful pacing. Manipulators demand speed because time threatens their performance. They may push instant loyalty, immediate commitment, deep confession, or emotional dependence before trust has developed. Slow the process. Keep your routines, maintain your other relationships, preserve your independence. Anyone who benefits from your weakness will dislike your stability. Let that reaction educate you. The goal is not to become suspicious. The goal is to become difficult to deceive. When you observe without projecting, listen without becoming hypnotized, and trust without surrendering judgment, betrayal loses much of its power. You may still encounter dishonest people, but they will not remain close long enough to destroy what you have built. Study quietly, decide slowly, trust gradually, and when the evidence becomes clear, act without arguing with reality. Number 6. Choose discomfort before life chooses it for you. Comfort does not make a man peaceful. Too much comfort makes him fragile. It teaches his body to avoid effort, his mind to escape pressure, and his character to collapse whenever reality refuses to cooperate. The 7th habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is voluntary discomfort. The deliberate practice of doing difficult things before difficulty is forced upon you. Life will eventually test every man. It will remove people he depended on, delay the success he expected, expose him to rejection, place responsibility on his shoulders, and demand strength when he feels least prepared to provide it. The weak man waits for these moments before discovering what he is made of. The strategic man prepares himself in advance. He trains when resting would feel better. He works when motivation is absent. He faces conversations he would rather avoid. He accepts temporary discomfort so permanent weakness cannot take root inside him. Understand this clearly. Every time you escape a necessary struggle, you make the next struggle more powerful. Every time you obey fear, fear gains authority. Every time you abandon a task because it becomes frustrating, your mind learns that resistance is enough to make you retreat. Eventually, even small obstacles begin feeling unbearable. You become a man who needs perfect conditions to function, constant encouragement to continue, and immediate results to remain committed. That is not peace. That is dependence disguised as comfort. Machiavellian power requires you to become useful under pressure because the world does not reward the man who performs only when circumstances are easy. It rewards the man who remains effective while others are panicking, complaining, hesitating, or searching for someone to rescue them. Pressure reveals hierarchy. When conditions become uncertain, people instinctively look toward whoever appears composed, decisive, and prepared. If you can think while others are emotional, move while others are frozen, and endure while others are escaping, influence begins moving toward you. You do not need to demand authority. Competence under pressure creates it naturally, but this ability cannot be invented during a crisis. It must be trained through repeated exposure to controlled difficulty. Start with your body, because the body teaches the mind what obedience feels like. Train when you are tempted to skip. Wake when the alarm commands you, not when comfort grants permission. Finish the difficult set. Take the longer route. Eat according to your goal rather than your temporary appetite. Your body will negotiate. It will produce excuses that sound reasonable. It will tell you that today is different, that you deserve relief, and that one weak decision will not matter. Do not hate your body for resisting. Resistance is natural. Your responsibility is to prove that resistance does not make the decision. Each time you continue despite discomfort, you establish a chain of command within yourself. The mind gives the order. The body obeys. That authority will follow you into every other area of life. The man who can command himself physically becomes more capable of commanding his speech, spending, anger, attention, and impulses. Physical discipline is not merely about appearance. It is daily evidence that pain can be experienced without being obeyed. Then train your emotional endurance. Stop running from every moment that makes you feel uncertain, embarrassed, rejected, or exposed. Make the call you have been delaying. Enter the room where you feel inexperienced. Ask the question that risks hearing no. Speak honestly when silence would protect your comfort but damage your future. Weak men build their lives around avoiding embarrassment. As a result, they also avoid growth because nearly every meaningful beginning requires you to look unskilled. The powerful man accepts temporary incompetence. He knows mastery begins with being bad at something long enough to become better. His ego does not demand instant superiority. He is willing to appear ordinary while constructing extraordinary ability. This makes him dangerous because most people abandon the process before the process can transform them. Comment: discomfort makes me dangerous if you are ready to stop treating resistance as a reason to retreat. You must also become comfortable with boredom. Many men can work intensely for a few days, but they cannot repeat simple actions for months without excitement. They need novelty, new goals, new routines, new inspiration. They keep changing direction because consistency feels less stimulating than beginning again. But power is usually built through repetition that looks unimpressive from the outside. Studying the same skill, following the same schedule, saving money every month, training when there is no dramatic transformation to display, producing work before recognition arrives. The ordinary days decide whether your extraordinary goals survive. A man becomes untouchable when he can remain faithful to a process after the emotion has disappeared. He does not need every day to feel meaningful. He understands that meaning is often created afterward, when hundreds of disciplined days finally produce a result that others call sudden. Nothing was sudden. They simply did not witness the boredom you endured without quitting. Learn to tolerate loneliness as well. There will be seasons when your standards separate you from people who once felt familiar. When you stop wasting time, some friendships will weaken. When you stop participating in gossip, certain conversations will no longer include you. When you begin taking your future seriously, people committed to comfort may call you obsessed, distant, or arrogant. Do not immediately lower yourself to recover belonging. Solitude is uncomfortable, but false belonging is expensive. It can cost your focus, identity, and future. Use isolation to study yourself. Notice which desires are truly yours and which were borrowed from the crowd. Build routines that do not depend on company. Learn to sit with your thoughts without reaching for stimulation. A man who cannot tolerate being alone will repeatedly accept the wrong people simply to escape silence. His fear of loneliness makes him easy to control. The person willing to walk alone until he finds the right allies cannot be threatened with exclusion. That is real social power. Voluntary discomfort also means telling yourself the truth before reality humiliates you with it. Look at the areas where you are failing without producing excuses. Perhaps you are not unlucky, perhaps you are inconsistent, perhaps people are not overlooking your value, perhaps you have not developed enough value to become undeniable, perhaps you are not waiting for the right moment, perhaps you are afraid to begin. The ego protects weakness by changing its name. Laziness becomes exhaustion, fear becomes careful planning, indecision becomes patience, lack of preparation becomes bad luck. A strategic man destroys these disguises. He would rather experience the discomfort of honest self-assessment than the long-term pain of remaining deluded. Sit down regularly and examine your actions as though you were studying another person. What promises are you repeatedly breaking? What problem continues returning because you treat the symptom instead of the cause? Where are you demanding results without paying the required price? Do not insult yourself. Diagnose yourself. Shame wastes energy, but accurate judgment redirects it. Once the weakness has been named, attack it through action. If you fear speaking, practice speaking. If you avoid confrontation, learn to set one clear boundary. If you lack physical endurance, begin training. If money controls your emotions, reduce unnecessary spending and build reserves. You do not defeat weakness by thinking about strength. You defeat it by repeatedly entering the place where weakness lives and refusing to retreat. Remember that discomfort must be strategic, not reckless. Do not destroy your health to prove toughness. Do not remain in abusive situations and call it resilience. Do not create unnecessary suffering because you believe pain itself makes you powerful. Pain without purpose can break a man. The goal is controlled challenge, difficulty that strengthens capacity, sharpens judgment, or builds independence. A wise man knows when to endure and when to withdraw. He does not stay in a losing battle merely to prove courage. Sometimes strength means continuing. Sometimes strength means changing the strategy. Sometimes strength means leaving before pride turns damage into destruction. The purpose of voluntary discomfort is to increase your choices, not eliminate them. You train hard, so exhaustion cannot frighten you. You practice rejection, so the word no cannot control you. You live below your means, so money cannot force you to tolerate humiliation. You spend time alone, so abandonment cannot make you desperate. You face truth, so deception cannot govern your decisions. Each chosen difficulty removes another weapon the world could have used against you. Eventually, pressure stops feeling like an emergency. You have met it before. You know what your mind does when tired, afraid, uncertain, or tempted, and you have practiced leading yourself through those states. Other men will search for comfort. You will search for the correct move. Other men will ask why life is unfair. You will ask what the situation requires. Other men will collapse when the easy path disappears. You will become sharper because difficulty activates the man you deliberately trained. This is how weakness is removed, not through one dramatic act, but through the daily refusal to let comfort become your master. Choose difficult conversations. Choose disciplined mornings. Choose focused work. Choose honest reflection. Choose the temporary pain that purchases long-term authority over yourself. Because when you repeatedly choose discomfort on your own terms, life loses the power to shock you with it. And the man who cannot be frightened by difficulty becomes extremely difficult to control. Number 7. Become so competent that you cannot be ignored. The world does not reward your hidden potential, it rewards the power you can prove. You may be intelligent, ambitious, loyal, and full of ideas, but none of that gives you influence until it becomes visible through competence. The 8th habit that makes weak men powerful and powerful men untouchable is the relentless development of useful ability. Weak men want respect before they have earned weight. They want higher positions without higher capability, more money without greater value, and authority without mastering responsibility. When recognition does not arrive, they blame favoritism, luck, society, or the people who failed to notice them. But a strategic man asks a colder question. What can I become so good at that overlooking me becomes expensive? That question immediately returns power to your hands. You cannot control who likes you, supports you, or opens a door for you, but you can control the level of skill you bring when the door appears. Competence creates leverage because it reduces your dependence on sympathy. You stop needing people to believe your promises because your results speak before you enter the room. You stop demanding respect because your presence begins affecting outcomes. You become the man called when pressure rises, when problems become complicated, and when ordinary effort is no longer enough. That position is not created by confidence alone. It is built through private hours of practice that nobody celebrates. Machiavellian intelligence understands that talent is useful, but reliable capability is power. Talent may impress people briefly. Reliability makes them depend on you. Learn to finish what others abandon. Learn to solve what others complain about. Learn to remain accurate when others become careless. Your goal is not to know everything. Your goal is to possess a combination of abilities that makes you difficult to replace. Build one skill that produces value, one skill that communicates value, and one skill that protects value. Perhaps you know how to create, but you must also learn how to present, negotiate, sell, lead, or distribute what you create. A man with one isolated ability can be useful. A man who combines technical mastery, communication, emotional control, and strategic thinking becomes dangerous. His power comes from the fact that fewer people can do what he does at the level he does it. Stop scattering your energy across 20 skills because being average at everything protects your ego from the pain of mastering anything. Choose an arena. Study its rules. Find the abilities that separate the highest performers from the crowd. Then practice deliberately. Repetition alone does not create mastery. A man can repeat the same mistake for 10 years and call it experience. Deliberate practice means identifying your weakness, attacking it directly, receiving honest feedback, and correcting your method. It means practicing the part that embarrasses you instead of endlessly repeating what already makes you feel talented. The ego wants to display strength. Discipline is willing to examine weakness, record your performance, measure the result, study people who operate at a higher level. Do not copy their personality. Examine their process. What do they notice that you miss? What standards do they maintain that you keep negotiating? Where are they faster, clearer, calmer, or more precise? Envy wastes the information another man's success can give you. Replace envy with analysis. When someone defeats you, do not immediately protect your pride by calling them lucky. Study the advantage. A loss can become tuition when you are humble enough to learn from it. Comment, "My competence creates my power," if you are finished waiting for recognition and ready to become undeniable. Understand that true competence also requires the courage to be a beginner. Many men remain weak because they are terrified of looking inexperienced. They protect the image of intelligence by avoiding any challenge that might expose what they do not know. They ask no questions, attempt nothing unfamiliar, and remain trapped inside abilities that stopped growing years ago. A powerful man is not ashamed to say, "I do not know this yet." The word "yet" changes everything. It turns ignorance from an identity into a temporary condition. Ask questions, seek correction, enter rooms where you are not the most advanced person. Your ego may feel smaller, but your capacity will grow larger. The man addicted to appearing powerful never becomes powerful because every lesson initially requires admitting that someone knows more than he does. Guard yourself from another trap, confusing information with ability. Watching hundreds of videos, reading books, saving advice, and planning endlessly can create the illusion of progress. Knowledge that never enters action becomes intellectual decoration. You do not learn negotiation by memorizing principles alone. You learn by entering real conversations where something is at stake. You do not become a leader by collecting quotes. You become one by making decisions, accepting consequences, and guiding people through uncertainty. You do not master discipline by discussing routines. You master it by performing when excuses appear. Consume less and execute more. After learning something, use it immediately. Create a project. Test the method. Risk producing imperfect work. The marketplace, the audience, and reality itself will provide feedback that theory cannot. Do not take failure personally. Treat it as data. A weak man asks, "What does this failure say about me?" A strategic man asks, "What does this failure reveal about the system?" One question attacks identity. The other improves performance. Correct the system. Change the preparation, timing, message, environment, or strategy. Then test again.